Hello everybody, welcome back to Weekly Life Wisdom. So far I've been your host, Zero Yeti. Let's get into it with the first animal of the week being the bonobo, also historically called the pygmy chimpanzee and less often the dwarf or gracile chimpanzee. It is an endangered great ape and one of the two species making up the genus Pan, with the other being the common chimpanzee. Although bonobos are not a subspecies of chimpanzee, but rather a distinct species in their own right, both species are sometimes referred to collectively using the generalized term chimp or chimps. Bonobos are found only within humid rainforests of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, south of the Congo River, and north of the Kasai River. Here they primarily feed upon fruit, leaves, honey, eggs, and invertebrates, but have also been known to cooperatively hunt and eat duikers, anomalures, flying squirrels, other rodents, and even small monkeys. Adult female bonobos are somewhat smaller than adult males, average around 3.6 feet tall and 73 pounds in weight compared to males at 3.9 and 98 pounds in weight. The bonobo's head is relatively smaller than that of the common chimpanzee, with a less prominent brow ridge above the eyes, and additionally they sport slimmer upper bodies, narrower shoulders, thinner necks, and longer, more robust legs. Bonobos are unique amongst non-human apes for the lack of male dominance and the relatively high social status of females, due to the latter forming long-lasting, powerful alliances among each other. Depending on the community, the leadership may be entirely female or a mix between males and females. Bonobos are extremely social, peaceful animals with strong bonds with each other, always living in close-knit groups which may vary in size from 3 to 120 individuals, though around 5 to 20 is the most common group size. They work cooperatively to hunt, forage, protect the community from predators, build tools, and care for infants. They are very tactile apes and often extremely physically affectionate towards each other. Sexual activity plays a major role in bonobo society, being used as a form of breeding, saying goodbye, forming social bonds, conflict resolution, and post-conflict reconciliation. As a result, they are extremely promiscuous animals, so much so that all mature members of a group will mate with each other regardless of their age or sex on an incredibly frequent basis. This means that it is usually unknown which males fathered which offspring. This, coupled with their communal lifestyle, is thought to be the reason why male bonobos are so kind, playful, and caring towards infants and adolescents compared to their chimpanzee counterparts. After an 8-month gestation period, a mother bonobo will typically give birth to a single offspring, which she will care for closely until the baby is around 4 years of age. As adults, males will stay with their mother's group throughout their lives, whereas bonobo females will leave in search of an unrelated group. Under ideal conditions, a bonobo may live upwards of 40 years. Next up is the spotted eagle ray, which is an endangered species of cartilaginous fish in the eagle ray family Myobatidae. These rays are native to the Atlantic Ocean and appear in particular abundance within the Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico. Here they are found in shallow coastal waters at depths of up to 265 feet, with their preferred habitat being coral reefs and bays. Mature spotted eagle rays can reach upwards of 15 feet in length, 500 pounds in weight, and sport a wingspan of up to 10 feet. They have flat disc-shaped bodies with deep blue or black coloration that are marked with white spots on top and a white underbelly, with a distinctive flat snouts similar to a duck's bill. Their tails are longer than those of other rays and may sport 2 to 6 venomous spines just behind the pelvic fins. The front half of their long, wing-like pectoral disc have 5 small gills on their underside, and they feed primarily upon bivalves, true crabs, whelks, hermit crabs, and are also known to supplement this diet with shrimp, small fish, octopi, and other mollusks. They hunt by digging with their snouts into the ocean floor to unearth their prey by spewing clouds of sand from their gills in the process. Additionally, spotted eagle rays' specialized chevron-shaped tooth structure helps to crush the hard shells of mollusks and crustaceans, making them easier to eat. While they primarily feed in solitude, spotted eagle rays often do regularly travel in schools of 3 to 16 individuals, following a cycle of the tides from one area to another. They may travel together as a defensive strategy, as the spotted eagle ray does have a litany of predators, including various sharks, including the bull, tiger, and great hammerhead, as well as bottlenose dolphins, orcas, and other cetaceans. The spotted eagle ray develops ovoviviparously, with the eggs being retained inside the female, and hatching internally, with the young feeding off the yolk sac until live birth. After about a year-long gestation period, the mother gives birth to up to 4 pups, which mature after around 4 to 6 years of age. And under ideal conditions, a spotted egret may live upwards of 25 years. Next up is the northern bobwhite quail, also known as the Virginia quail or simply the bobwhite quail. It is a ground-dwelling bird native to Canada, the United States, Mexico, and Cuba, with introduced populations elsewhere in the Caribbean, Europe, and Asia. The name bobwhite is onomatopoetic derivation of its characteristic whistling call. The bobwhite can range in size from 9.4 to 11 inches in length and 4.6 to 9 ounces in weight, and they sport a 13 to 15-inch wingspan. Bobwhite typically has a chunky, rounded shape for a quail, and the bill is short, curved, and brown-black in color. This species is sexually dimorphic, with males having a white throat and brown stripe bordered by black, with an overall rufous plumage and gray molting on the tail and wings. They have white stripes on the flanks and black scallops on the whitish underparts. Females are similar but duller overall and have a buff throat and brow without the black border. Both sexes have pale legs and feet. They can be found year-round in agricultural fields, grasslands, open woodland areas, roadsides, and wood edges, where they feed upon seeds, wild berries, partridge peas, nuts, and grains, as well as small invertebrates such as ticks, snails, slugs, grasshoppers, beetles, spiders, and crickets. Like most game birds, when threatened, they will crouch and freeze, relying on camouflage to stay undetected, but will flush into low flight if disturbed. It is generally solitary or paired early in the year, but family groups of bobwhite quail are common in late summer, and in winter they roost in flocks of up to 2 dozen birds. This species was once considered monogamous, but recently has been discovered to be an ambisexual polygamous species. After mating, the mother will build a nest on the ground out of dirt and vegetation, where she will deposit 8 to 25 eggs in a clutch, with the eggs being laid daily. Either parent may incubate the clutch for 23 days, and the precocial young leave the nest shortly after hatching, but remain with their parents for around 4 to 8 weeks. Northern bobwhite quail typically reach sexual maturity around 1 year of age and may live upwards of 5 years. Next up is the common chameleon, which is our first chameleon on the channel. It is also known as the Mediterranean chameleon, and together with the African chameleon, C. africanus, it is one of only 2 extant species of Cameliidae with a range that extends into Europe. They can be found throughout Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece, Cyprus, the Canary Islands, Malta, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Western Sahara, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Turkey, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. Here they dwell in a wide range of habitats ranging from the temperate, tropical, and Mediterranean forests to woodland and scrubland. They average in length of the common chameleon is around 8 to 16 inches, with females often be substantially larger than males. The color of the common chameleon is variable, with yellow-brown throughout green to a dark brown or even black. Many assume the color changes undergo by a chameleon are the result of its attempting to camouflage itself, when in reality the chameleon changes its color as a response to light and temperature stimuli, as well as an expressive of its emotions. These chameleons are typically a solitary, diurnal, and arboreal species, which spend their time scrambling about trees and bushes using their specifically evolved grasping feet and prehensile tail to maintain balance and stability. They usually move at a leisurely, often slightly swaying pace to avoid detection by predators. Their diet primarily consists of insects and other arthropods, and occasionally fruit, which they capture using their rapid extension of their long, sticky tongue, which grasps and adheres to the target before being pulled back into the mouth. The common chameleon breed from mid-July to mid-September. During this time, they typically descend to lower levels of vegetation or to the ground in search for a mate. Females produce one clutch of between 5 and 45 eggs per year, which they will deposit in a small soil burrow. After around a 10 to 12-month incubation period, the young hatch and are ready to set off on their own. A common chameleon typically reaches sexual maturity around 1 year of age and may live upwards of 3 years. Next step is the Little Barrier Island giant weta or the wetapunga. It is a species of weta in the order Orthoptera and the family Onostotomatidae. Onostotomatidae. That is a long word. It is endemic to New Zealand, whereas has survived only on the Little Barrier Island, although it has been translocated and reintroduced in some other predator-free islands and conservation areas. Here they occupy both new and old-growth forests, feeding primarily on lichens, leaves, flowers, seeds, and fruit, occasionally supplementing this diet with carrion and other insects. As adults, these giant weta live a solitary, nomadic lifestyle, typically emerging at night to feed and travel between groves of maho and poukukukawa trees. Sporting body lengths of over 3 inches and weights of up to 70 grams, they are the largest species of weta and amongst the largest extant insects on Earth. It is a sexually dimorphic species, with females typically ranging fairly larger than males, and they are generally wingless, sporting a broad, heavy body and a round head, along with their short mandibles. Compared to other cricket species, weta have relatively short antennae but can deliver a strong kick with their hind legs. Their life cycle is not tied to the seasons, with mating occurring throughout most months of the year, with the exception of June, July, and August. Mating typically occurs during the day, with the females emerging at night to deposit their eggs, either in singularity or in groups of 5, in shallow burrows, which she then covers with soil and vegetation. These eggs hatch after a period of around 125 days, and after hatching, the Little Barrier Island giant weta have 10 instars, which they go through. In females, the ovipositor becomes visible at around the third instar, and at the sixth instar, the difference between males and female sexes becomes very obvious. Each instar lasts on average between 5 and 6 weeks, and under ideal conditions, a weta may live upwards of 2 years. Next up is the Sumatran rhinoceros, also known as the hairy rhinoceros or the Asian two-horned rhinoceros. It is the second rarest of the 5 extant species of rhinoceros on Earth and is the only extinct species in the genus Dicerorhinus. They are also the closest living relative to the extinct woolly rhinoceros, which we have previously covered. Standing around 6.5 to a little over 4.5 feet tall at the shoulder and weighing between 1,100 and 2,200 pounds, it is the smallest extant rhino, and unlike the other Asian species, it sports 2 horns, a 5 to 10 inch nasal horn, and then a second 1 to 4 inch rear horn. Unlike other extant rhinoceri, they sport a coat of reddish-brown hair that covers most of the body. And they lead mostly solitary lives that can be found throughout the rainforest, swamps, and cloud forests of Sumatra and Borneo, where they feed upon primarily tree saplings, leaves, twigs, and shoots. The Sumatra rhino are usually most active when eating and at dawn or around just after dusk. During the day, they wallow in mud baths to cool down and rest for up to 5 hours at a time. Individual rhinos maintain fairly large home ranges, up to 20 square miles, that usually cross a variety of habitats, which they navigate by maintaining trails that are often utilized by other animals such as elephants, tapirs, deer, and wild dogs. In the rainy season, they move to higher elevations throughout their territory, and in the cooler months, they return to the lower areas of their range. Female Sumatran rhinos become sexually mature around 6 to 7 years, and while males become sexually mature around 10 years of age. Mating occurs at once every 4 to 5 years, with the gestation period lasting around 15 to 16 months. The calf, which typically weighs between 80 to 132 pounds, is weaned after about 15 months and then stays with its mother for the first 2 to 3 years of its life. Under ideal conditions, the Sumatran rhino may live between 35 and 40 years. And our extinct animal week is the Carolina parakeet, also known as the Carolina conure. It is an extinct species of small green neotropical parrot with a bright yellow head, reddish-orange face, and pale beak that was native to the eastern Midwest and the Plain States of the United States. It was the only indigenous parrot within its range, as well as one of only three parrot species native to the United States, where it was found from southern New York and Wisconsin to Kentucky, Tennessee, and the Gulf of Mexico, from the Atlantic seaboard to as far west as eastern Colorado at the Rockies. Here it lived in old-growth forests along rivers and swamps, where it fed upon seeds, flowers, and fruit, in particular conkleburs, which is a plant that contains a toxin known as glucoside, which in turn made the Carolina parakeet themselves poisonous to predators. Male and female adults were nearly identical in plumage. However, males were slightly larger than females, reaching around 13 inches in length compared to females at around 11, with both sexes sporting a 20 to 23-inch wingspan. These avians lived in huge, noisy flocks, as many as 200 to 300 birds. Mating pairs built their nests in hollow trees, laying 2 to 5 1.6-inch round white eggs. The evidence is indicative that humans were directly responsible in the extinction of the Carolina parakeet through a variety of means, including deforestation, introduction of disease, and hunting for both decorative use for their colorful feathers in women's hats, as well as to reduce crop predation. A factor that exacerbated their decline to extinction was their unique flocking behavior that led these birds to return to the vicinity of the dead and dying birds to mourn them, which in turn enabled the wholesale slaughters of entire flocks by hunters. The last captive Carolina parakeet, Incas, named Incas, died in the Cincinnati Zoo on February 21, 1918, in the same cage as Martha, the last passenger pigeon, who died in the year 1914. As always, take care of my guys, gals, and non-binary pals.